Hello guys, I welcome you in Python programming course from scratch. This is 16th tutorial where we will be seeing functions in Python. Guys, in real-time projects, many of the times projects are very complex. And these complex projects, project leader needs to be divided into, it assigns the task to the module leaders. And module leaders ultimately divides that task to the members of the group. And a programmer who is ultimately doing the programming, he also required to write a lot of programs. Mean length of the program many of the times is too big. So what he does is he divides his work into some pieces, some task, subtask, and these subtasks do some particular task only. Those subtasks are called the functions. Let us see the definition. I am Dr. Nilesh Shaike, Assistant Professor from Priyadarshini Indira Gandhi College of Engineering, Nagpur. This is a definition of function. A function is a block of organized, reusable code. Well, this is a block which is organized one and reusable code that is used to perform a single related task. That means it is a piece of functionality that is doing some particular task. Let us move ahead and directly we shift to the Jupyter notebook so that our concepts will be clear. So how to declare function is just write def and write the name of your function. Suppose greet is the name of your function, and this round brackets clears the Python that it is a function. And now suppose I write hello, and then write suppose I write good morning. Good morning. Okay, and let us run this. You have seen that it is not, even though it is not giving any print statement, but it has been executed. That means it is not showing us any error. That means this function is ready to use. So let us use that function. Let us say, just say greet. Let's call that function with the greet. And this is how you can call function. You can see that that function has executed. So this way, what you can do is you can write a piece of functionality together, and just in the main programming part, you will require to call it. Just write another function. Suppose we write some function which will be doing some operations, and suppose addition of two numbers. So in that case, you will require to have two numbers. So A and B are number. We just said that print A plus B. Let us execute that. You know that this operation is uses two arguments. So let us give two arguments to it, 100. Now you have seen that some spelling mistake is there probably. Operations is not defined. Spelling mistake perhaps is there. Let us, what we will be doing is, we have not executed that part earlier. Okay, so this way this part was not executed. So this way we are writing the operations. We have written the program for addition of two numbers. Similarly, you can do the subtraction of two numbers. Suppose I say A minus B, and even I can say multiplication, division. Remember that this way I can find out. So, and you are seeing that it is doing multiple operations, and it is showing the this way results. But many of the times it occurs the problem, like we do not want to print this values that is getting executed, that is getting resulted, but we want this to be utilized in our main program. So what is needed is it should return the values. But here is not one value that is will get returned, because we want addition also, subtraction also. So what we will be doing is we will be taking those values into the variables. Suppose A, C, D, E variables we have written, and we want to now we want the return these values. So what we will be doing is I will be writing return C, D, and E. Okay, we will be returning this, and we will be, let us collect those values into variable. So this way I can collect those variable. You can see here, let us execute this function and let us execute this. But we need to print this. So I will be writing print E, comma, Q, comma, R. This way I can return. So you can see here, this way I have done the operations. So many operations you can perform there. And many multiple values. This is the beauty of Python, that it returns the return multiple value. This way, many of the times, suppose there is one function. Suppose we have a function def connect. Okay, and we know that many of the times we do the database handling, and then in the database handling, we require many parameters, like we want the name of the server, name of the database, we want the name of the database system which you are utilizing, whether Oracle or MySQL or SQL Server, and username of the database, password of the database. So many parameters we will require to send. And suppose we are writing such functions here, and we have written the code here. So such code will be utilized many times. We will in the from the I mean coding part, you will just say connect, and that particular part will be connected. So this is what I am telling you, is it is about reusability. Means once you have made the functions, it's not that at one instance you will require it. In the future, so many instances, so many times you may require that function. Okay, so this was how you have seen the advantages of using function. So let us move ahead, and let us take a new program in new cell. Suppose I am writing here the function person, and we have some two arguments. Suppose age, and I'm saying colon print. I am saying hey, your name is, and I am saying name. Both are string, so it will accept it. But I want this age also, and suppose I say and your age is, well, I have to convert this age into string, because it earlier part is string and it will come in integer, right? So let us execute this function. So it has executed. Now we need to call this. Suppose person we are calling, suppose I am giving the name Nilesh, and age I am giving suppose 40. You can see here it has printed 40. I mean, it has printed, hey, your name is Nilesh and your age is 40. So this way you can send the arguments. But might be the case, many of the times it happens that user may not be able to send two arguments, and it is expecting this function is expecting two arguments, but we are just sending one argument. So in that case, what it will be doing is it will return error to you. So in such circumstances, what you can do is you can keep some values to be default, so that if such case happens, it won't give any error. It will take the default values. So this way, Python is very robust, and it provides all the facilities to the guys, so that you can make the robust functions. Okay. So this was the case. Let us move ahead, and let us take another. Many of the times, as you say that here it was accepting two arguments and it has sent one. So let us make this. Let us make a function argument dependent. That means you may send one value, you may send two value, you may send many value. That doesn't affect. What I mean to say, suppose I am writing a one function. Suppose I say my function, in which I will be accepting many arguments. So I will be writing star kids. Star. Kids is the variable I am saying star. Star means multiple values. So what we have achieved with this is that with this star, we can accept many arguments. We need not to say even how many number of arguments. It might be 4 arguments, it might be 100 arguments, it might be 1 argument even. Okay, and this argument will come as a tuple here. So that means tuple, or you say for convenience, it is a list. Now we want to access these elements one by one. So we will be using for loop there. So suppose I say for a or x, let us say for x in keys. This way I will iterate through the collection. Mind well collection. If you are not attended previous my tutorial, please attend the lecture of tuples, then dictionary, sets, and list, and your concepts will be clear. So here kids is our collection, and for iterating through the collection, I'm using for loop and just say print x. Okay, so this way I have written the function. I'm executing it, no error. Let us call this function. So let us call my function. Okay, and now here you can send the arguments, many arguments as you want. This way I can send the arguments, and see it has shown me the list. There is no limit of sending the arguments now, because it is accepting multiple arguments. So this way it's very fun to program with Python, as I am already telling you frequently. Now let us suppose write one function which will be just giving us that many times numbers. That means suppose you are sending some numbers, and it will function will multiply all those number with some fixed number. Suppose I write a definition my function, and suppose let us say that you are getting one argument, and you are returning return 10 into x. So multiple 10 times you are I would say you are increasing the value of that particular value that is getting sent to this function. Suppose I send 90. Let us see the output. It has written 900. So this way I can suppose I let us give many more values to it. Suppose I say 100, 200. So this way you can see we will write to print, because last statement only it take as a print. Otherwise you will have to write print. Jupyter takes only last statement. It defaults the print last statement, but as you have given the print here, you need to write the print in print all the statements. So this way you can see that we have write a function which is multiplying the value with some fixed number. So in order to get more ideas clear, let us do one more function which will be giving us the even or odd number, right? Suppose I write the function for even odd. So just say even odd, and suppose you are taking suppose x, and we will just print whether that particular x is even or odd. So what we'll be saying is just we will say that if x percent modulo 2 equal to 0, then print it's even. Otherwise, else we will print it's odd. Right? This is how you have executed, and let us call this even odd, and let us send the number 19 I'm saying, and it's saying odd. So this way you have written the function for even odd. Now let us take let us move ahead and suppose take write function for swapping. You know the logic behind the swap. We are taking two numbers xy, and say let us take the value in temp equal to x is equal to y. Earlier also we have done this, so I need not to tell you the logic. Sorry, C, it is not C, so semicolon is not needed there. So this way I will have to return the value of x and y, or just write print here. We will return the values, return x comma y. So let us call this, let us execute this, and let us call this in a fresh cell. Swap, right? But let us print the values before swapping. Suppose I write a is equal to 100 and b is equal to 90, suppose, and I am printing values a and b. Print a comma b, okay, and then swap, and again we will write a comma b after swapping, and let us take send these two values a comma b. Okay, now let us some mistake is there. Print a b swap some those are returning the values, so we need to collect those values. Suppose we take collect that values in a and b. Suppose a comma b, it is returning the value, okay. So print ab. So you have seen here, this is how you have swapped. If those who couldn't get this, I'm repeating, this is the logic for swapping the values. We have returned two values. These two values returned will go to a and b, and so we have printed ab. So this is so easy doing, and this is a whole unique feature of Python that you can return the multiple values. So let us move ahead and take some more example. Suppose I say that here as you have written that you can send multiple values. So let us write some function which will be summing up the multiple values. Suppose I write suppose numbers. Numbers are the actually many arguments. Suppose multiple numbers. Number is a list of multiple numbers. So what we'll be doing is for addition of those number, we will take counter total 0, and we will be taking for loop, right, for I in numbers, because number is a collection. and I said total is equal to total plus I. So this is how it's the sum of the elements, and then we will be printing this. So I will say print total. So this is how it has written the function, and let us call this. I will say sum, and we will be just sending the numbers to it. At randomly, I am sending the numbers. So this way, it has given me the sum of the elements that you have sent. So I hope this is very funny and easy also. Now let us move ahead. You may be knowing, you may be feeling that video is too large, but guys, you have to do a lot of programming, a lot of practice, so that you will become expert in the programming. Let us do one program. What I want is, suppose I am saying, say I want to write one function string test, and what I want to is, suppose I have written given a string that this is Dr. Nilesh Shekhe, and I want a number of uppercase letters and lowercase letters from this string. Uh, I repeat, I want the function def with the name string test, which will be giving me the number of upper characters and number of lower characters. We will be taking this string. Suppose str is the name of your string. Okay, and big name, so S only you can take. Yes, and I will be checking now whether alphabet character is alpha. I mean, how many characters? That means I have to check the character one by one. So I will be taking loop there. If I say for I or X in for, let us say C for character, for C in S. That means one by one I will iterate through the loop. And if I say if C is upper is the command which will be saying yes if the letter is capital. Sorry, yeah, capital. Otherwise small. And we will have to, as we have to count the number of lower and upper characters, we have to check the take the counters for them. So I will say lower equal to 0. I will take upper also equal to 0. Two counters I am taking for counting the number of characters. Then I will say if it is upper, then I will say upper is equal to upper plus 1. And else if ELF, I will say C is lower, and if such is the case, then I will increment the value of lower. Okay, it has not probably come at the place where it is intended, so it will show red color. Lower is equal to lower plus 1. Okay, and there may be the another characters like exclamation sign, or maybe question mark, or maybe full stop. So such characters also needs to be taken care. So for that I am taking else part, so that if it's none of upper, no, not from the upper, not from the lower, it will take else, it come to the else part, and it will pass, means it won't execute anything. So let us run this code function. It has function has executed, no error. So it should give us the proper value to us. Sorry, we have not taken a print. It has executed, but it should get printed. So let us print this function. So it has shown none. Some error is there. For so sorry. Actually, we need to either we'll require to return upper and lower, or we require to print in the function itself. So here only we will write print number of upper characters are, and we will write to value, print the value of upper, right? Upper. Okay. Similarly, we will write for lower. And we will just call that. Let us see. Execute the function, no problem. Execute the code. It's not giving, some error is that string lower equal to 0, upper is equal to 0. It's not showing anything. For C in S, okay, if C is upper you are increasing, lower you are increasing. It's a fault there. It is engaged actually. Yeah, it has given the option. Actually, compiler was engaged. So anyway, this is how it has shown you the number of uppercase letters and lowercase letters in your function. So let us move ahead. What I want is, now we want to write, suppose this way you have given multiple numbers here. Okay, previous function which wrote. Suppose I want that this to be given, and your program should print only even numbers. So what you will do? What I mean to say, suppose you're calling, suppose you are calling with a multiple numbers, right? So instead of sum, what I want is, I want, suppose, even numbers calculation, even numbers, suppose even n. Okay, I want to write such function which will be taking multiple numbers, and it will print only uh, now even numbers. So what you will be doing, for you will be going through the for loop, and uh, then you will say x, suppose x list for the even number. So what we will be doing is, you will take some even number list, which will be empty initially, and if the number is even, then you will drop it into num. If I percent 2 equal to 0, then you will append that enum dot append. I hope this is clear. What I'm doing is, if the number is even number, then I am adding it into the uh, uh, enum. Enum means, enum is a list I am taking. Okay, so print it. Let us execute this and call it. Some error is there. Okay, append takes exactly one argument, right? Yeah, we will require to take argument there. And this way you have seen that I am repeating, I am sending so many arguments here. Through this loop, I have taken one list, empty list with the enum for even numbers, for collecting even numbers. Then I am moving through the loop, and if the number is even, then only that element will be added into the empty list. So this way you can print the even numbers. Okay, so this way you have seen how it's fun to do the things. Suppose one more program, suppose we write, and I hope that we are increasing the program. Video length is increasing, but guys, if you practice, then and then only you will be a good software programmer. So let's move ahead. Let us do one function. It is last function. Let us take one function which gives the unique list. What I mean to say that, suppose unique in the list. What I mean to say, suppose I will be calling this way function, and function will return me the unique values. What I mean to say, suppose here 9 is getting repeated, suppose 5 is repeated, suppose 6 is repeated, but it won't give me the repeated values, it will give me value only once. Okay, such a, I mean, interesting program, right? So what I will be doing is, we will take suppose x, or x empty list x. What we will be doing is that we will be checking it in the numbers, because all those numbers came into the numbers list, right? And suppose x is an empty list, and if we will be adding that number in the x only if that is not available in x. What I mean to say, suppose if I write here, if I if I not in x, then and then only append. Okay, so what it will be doing is, it will append x. Okay, so what I have done, I have moving through all the numbers, and I will be checking that a particular number, suppose 23 first time, it will check whether it is in x or not. First time it will not be, so 23 will be added in the x, then 4 will be added, 5 will be added, 6 will be added, 7, 8 will be added, 9 will be added. But here up to all elements will be added, but when it comes to 9, it already be there, so it won't be added. Then 5, it is already there, it won't be added. 6 is already there, it won't be added. 23 is already there, it won't be added. So it will add only when there are numbers. I mean, there are not numbers, otherwise it will return the what we say, it will return the values. uh, it should return x. Okay, So this way it has given the unique elements. So I hope it was interesting, guys. If you are not getting what I am saying, so please you may please again see the video. You just pause the video, do what I am doing there in the video, and then try. But I tell you, this is very interesting, very interesting, and I appeal you, please do the programming, please, because Python, if it's not installed, then you use online Python compiler, and please, you should salute my efforts, because I'm taking much efforts. I'm putting the notes also in the PDF for your purpose. Please download the notes, like the channel, subscribe the channel, and please share with you people. Thank you very much.